Hello, my name is Kaya Johnson, and this is my project on the networked classroom for LDT 632. This is my story of how I had a classroom that was not connected at all to the world outside of the four walls of the school building, really, and of my ongoing attempts to change that by giving my students opportunities to connect with professionals and experts from around the world. The project where I have decided to implement a more networked classroom in my library is my Genius Hour project that I am doing with third grade. I wrote this lesson plan or unit plan template for Genius Hour during one of our courses over the summer, and once I started this course, I decided that the way I wanted to incorporate networked learning was by adding one of the required resources for my students to be some sort of interview. Prior to that, I had planned on only having them use print and online resources, and now I've decided to also require students to use one resource where they interview somebody either in real life who they know, or whether they reach out, interview somebody from the Marshall community, or even use the internet to reach out and connect with somebody there who's an expert on their Genius Hour topic. Before, I worked with my students on writing their interview questions and deciding who they were going to interview. We talked about evaluating resources and how when they do their research for Genius Hour, they need to be cognizant that there's going to be some people who don't know what they're talking about, even though they share information. There's going to be some people who try to persuade them to think one way or to sell them something instead of just giving them facts. I warned them about what to do if they stumble across information that's inappropriate for their age, and we talked about stopping right away if you find information that seems like it's not relevant or helpful to your project. We use the RADCAB method of evaluating websites to get started with this. Once we were done learning how to evaluate resources, the next step was to figure out who we wanted to talk to. We went back to the evaluating resource and making sure that we found somebody who had authority and who wasn't going to be biased. And I told them that they could reach out to people in the school, they could reach out to people in the community in Marshall, and they could even reach out to people all around the world if they thought they would be the best authority and expert on their topic. We had some students like Brielle who wanted to talk to people who worked in the school and wanted to reach out and interview people they know. We had some people like Caden who wanted to talk to people who they didn't know personally, but who they had seen around town in Marshall, and they knew were professionals working at places where they would like to work someday in the future. We had people like Lauren who wanted to talk to somebody who they didn't know, somebody who didn't live in Marshall, but they didn't know and hadn't heard of, just somebody who was working for a cause that they believed in. And then we had people like Gavin who wanted to talk to famous sports players like Stefan Diggs, and just people that they really idolized and wanted to be like. Once we knew who we wanted to talk to, then we had to decide what we wanted to talk to them about. This is the step that most of my students are on right now, trying to write good interview questions. We're working on asking questions that we won't be able to find as easily from print and online resources, things that will really benefit us to hear from people who are right there in the field, experts knowing how to create and how to work and how to save the animals, all the different projects that kids are doing. So that is the step that most of us are still stuck at right now, is writing the questions for the interview and trying to think of really great things to ask. I've given them some sentence prompts to get them started with their writing, and a lot of them have already finished writing, but a lot are still on this step. So far, the students have been really excited to reach out and make these personal connections and try to get in touch with people who they know are experts in their subject and care about the same issues that they care about. It has been really fun and exciting for some of my students to see people responding to their tweets and giving them responses for the questions that they've asked. It helps them to see how there is a world beyond the classroom that wants to help them learn and that is excited about them becoming informed members of society. It helps them know that they can contribute to the world outside of them, as well as reach out to others other than just their teachers when they want to learn new information. Implementing the network classroom for me right now is definitely a work in progress. I only see my students for about a half hour a week, and at this point in the project, they are not having a lot of class time to work on their Genius Hours. And so a lot of my students have not yet gotten to make these online connections, and some of the ones who have not heard back from their first people that they've reached out to yet. So it is certainly a work in progress that we will continue throughout the rest of this quarter and into next quarter, where we continue to write those good interview questions and make that connection online or with people in real life. By giving our students opportunities to reach out to those in the school, those in the community, and those around the world via the internet, I believe that we have followed the principles in Richardson's book by making our classroom more transparent, letting those around us know what we're doing. We're making our students better at communicating with those around them and those online, and we're making the students' learning experiences more authentic as they're able to see how their learning applies in the world outside of the school. One of the main ways that I've found successes in implementing a network classroom is just seeing the excitement in the students in being able to connect with those around them and knowing how much they care more about what they're doing than before, when I would teach them about these same topics in ways that they didn't so much care about and would forget as soon as I left, and the continuation of week to week. One of the main setbacks we've seen is how a lot of the people we've written to have not responded, and then having the kids be disappointed about that and having to go to our second choice for who we want to reach out to. I would say that the main way my perception of a network classroom has changed is that it really is worth the extra time that it takes. It does take an extra effort, and it takes some time outside of school, and it definitely reaches beyond the norms of what you're comfortable with and is a shift from what you're used to doing. But I've found that it really is worth it in what we've done so far, just by the students' excitement and caring about what we do. From here, I'd say that we're going to keep on working on our questions, and we're going to keep working on who to talk to if the first person doesn't respond. We're going to also keep going back to those evaluating resources and evaluating the results we get from the people we talk to online, and finding out that just because you find information on the computer and just because somebody responds to you doesn't mean that what they say is necessarily true and correct. So I think with the Networked Classroom Genius Hour project that we're doing, students are really going to have a lot of opportunities to work on their communication skills, to show people what we're doing in the classroom, and then also to work on evaluating their resources and learn a ton about their Genius Hour topic and their passion. They'll be able to see that they'll be able to learn outside of school by reaching out to others and learning all around them. Images for this presentation were found from the clip art on the Explain Everything app, posters from the Clips app. Information was from Personal Learning Networks Using the Power of Connections to Transform Education by Will Richardson and Rob Mancabelli. The Genius Hour logo is from the official Genius Hour website. Thank you for listening to my presentation today.